Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California. Welcome to my summer 2020 plant tour episode 1. I am sitting in the front of my home and it's been about 3 months since I filmed my spring 2020 plant tour. I believe that was 7 episodes. And those plant tours, I really go into detail about the planters, the plants, how I'm styling the plants. And for the summer plant tour, I just want to give you an overview, maybe talk about different things that I switched up to style plants. As you've seen all of my planting with Jewelyns and my plant hauls from my spring tour to my current summer plant tour, there has been a lot of planting with Jewelyns, plant hauls, plant shopping, and I love being able to introduce new plants to the collection. And it's always interesting to see how I end up styling them and incorporating them into the collection with my space and just working with what I have. I always like to be creative when it comes to styling my plants, whether it's a DIY setup or maybe something thrifted. Plant life right now can be very expensive, so I always try to share the most inexpensive ways to style plants on a budget, and being able to have the amount of plants I have with my current living situation is always also tricky as well. I do acknowledge that I'm very lucky to be able to have this outside space where I have my greenhouse, which, by the way, if you've noticed, my greenhouse is no longer in the front of my home. If you watch my vlog channel and my plant life on the vlog channel, then you know the sun during the summer was so strong, and for the first time ever I decided to move my greenhouse. The greenhouse is now in front of me, so it's underneath the bougainvillea tree in the shade, and I feel like the plants are much happier there and it frees up the space in the front of the home. So that was the first time I ever moved the greenhouse, so that is definitely the first update of the front of the home that you see right away. Now, if you watch the vlog channel, you know that my tree is very problematic. I have a yucca tree, a pine tree, and a bougainvillea tree on this property, and it creates trash every hour, and there's no way for me to keep this place 100% clean. And I try my best every day, if you watch on the vlog channel, to keep up with the space and try to keep as tidy as I can. So I wanted to switch up the layout, and you'll see in a second. I had a lot of plants in the front of the DIY plant shelf, but I decided to move plants away from there because it's just such a headache when I have hundreds of leaves and pine needles and all the debris from the trees in between all of the planters and on the plants. It's just very chaotic and very frustrating to have to deal with that every day. So I love that I was able to move plants away from this front section of the DIY shelf. Ideally, like I said in my spring 2020 plant tour, I would like to get a 3rd shelf. So maybe when I'm back in a week from Las Vegas, I would want to pick up more bricks and another piece of wood, and I can throw up a 3rd level, and I think that'll be a nice update for fall 2020 plant tour. So stay tuned for that. I will definitely share that on the main channel. Guys, a quick overview of what the space looks like, the few changes that I made, and then we'll go through the collection. I'll point out all of the new plants, if I can remember, that got incorporated into the space since my last plant. I hope you guys enjoy watching the collection grow, and I enjoy sharing my journey with you. I hope you enjoy episode 1 of my summer 2020 plant tour. Alright, quick overview of the slight changes that I made right away. As you can see, the greenhouse no longer lives in the front of the studio, and if you watch the vlog channel, you know I moved it during the middle of late spring, early summer, and it's now living on the left side of me underneath the bougainvillea tree. Alright you guys, welcome to the right side of the front of the home. My plant gang here has changed slightly. When I moved the greenhouse a couple of weeks ago, I decided to move my larger cacti babies to the right side of the front of my home. I definitely love the decision of me moving my larger cacti pieces to the right side. With my tree always giving me trash, it is so hard to clean in between all of these prickly babies, trying to get all the leaves out of the pot. My greenhouse lived in this section. All of my greenhouse babies did not like the summer heat, so these plant babies can take the heat a lot better. Adjustment for the front of the house has been working for me. Otherwise, I still have my plant ladder here and my DIY shelf behind me. In this section here, there is a few new plant babies that I incorporated in the collection since spring. I have my euphorbias here that I got as a trade from my plant friend Tanya. She gave me 2. I was able to gift one to my plant friend Sonia as well. So that's definitely an update for this part of the collection. As far as for growth wise, my Opuntia from Tanya here, as you see, it gave me a whole new baby once I replanted it in a terracotta planter. So I had this particular Opuntia from her for maybe 2 years and it never gave me any growth. And then once I did the switch out to a terracotta, it gave me this whole new baby. So that's very fun. Cactus is doing amazing as well ever since I transplanted it in the terracotta. Now if you guys remember watching my planting with Jewelyn, where I switched up a bunch of plant babies in the front of the home before spring 2020 plant tour, a bunch got moved into terracotta. Plant babies here that I repotted right before my spring 2020 plant tour, and it's doing really good. My Eve's Needle, the Euphorbia, and the Opuntia from Tanya, my newest one from Tanya, and my San Pedro cactus. They've been loving the switch up with terracotta, so I'm glad I was able to do that. I love the updated look as well. It's been working for me. As far as for new babies, down below I have one of my Aeoniums down here, which is kind of giving me a headache. It definitely looks like a rescue. Aeoniums have a tendency of looking like crazy wild weeds when they get out of control. I'm trying to figure out how I want to redo the look of this plant, but for now I just have it in a low terracotta bowl. That is one of my newest plant babies from my largest plant haul from this year. As for switching up plant babies in this section, I brought out an Aeonium and Aloe that was actually on my succulent shelf, and I brought it out here for the summer. So just little updates in this section, but I'm glad I was able to switch out the larger babies into terracotta, because as you can see, it's been loving its new living right side of the plant shelf. There's a few new things I would like to point out. Right away on the left hand side, you do see my Adenium, my desert rose. It is giving me 2 blooms here. I'm about to take it after this tour and preserve it and do some artwork with it. I did create an art piece for my mom with one of the 4 blooms it gave me this season, and I gave it to her as a birthday piece. I really love that I was able to preserve it. This particular Adenium rose is a repurchased plant. My original one died from the rain, and this was gifted to me from my plant friend Sonia. I don't know what's going on, why the leaves are yellowing. I'm not too sure. So if any of you guys know anything about Adeniums, sound off in the comments down below for any care tips. Again, this is only my second one, and my original one died from the rain, so I don't have much experience with them, but I definitely am happy that I have another one to add to the collection. I do see some new growth in the leaves here. I just don't know why there's a few yellowing leaves, so I will keep an eye on it. And that everything kind of remains the same in this section. That I got from my subscriber from our 3rd trade is doing really well. I haven't touched them yet, so I don't know if they're rooted, but this section of the plant shelf is doing good. I do also rotate my plant babies, especially if they're facing my studio. I want to be able to make sure that they have sun. So here we are on the left side of the shelf. As far as for any updates or changes, I did decide to bring my Epiphyllum here up on the shelf. It was originally on the ground and lifted up with the upside down planter, but I wanted to give some texture and interest to the plant shelf for this tour. So having the Adenium and the Epiphyllum on this shelf is definitely a new thing for this shelf, and I like being able to switch it up from time to time, and just the different contrasts and textures and colors. I love being able to incorporate either a Ripsalis or an Epiphyllum on this plant shelf, but stay tuned because I would definitely like to add a 3rd shelf. What I would do is bring this out and I would add the 3rd shelf right behind it, and then I can incorporate more plant babies out here and get them off of the ground. That's definitely something I like to do in the near future. On the bottom here, I took away all of the plant babies. There was so many plants down here. I want to say maybe 20 or so plants on the ground, and I took it away today, and I love this look. It's going to be much more manageable for me to clean up after this tree. And I just have my chicken and my turtle planter down there with some Aeoniums just for some interest and contrast and pop of color. But other than that, all of the plant babies remain the same. I do have to say, as far as for who gave me the most growth on the plant shelf, I'm gonna have to say it's my Opuntia rabbit ears from Tanya. There's so much growth. I also took cuttings from this mother plant numerous times. And let me know in the comments down below if you were one of my subscribers that I gifted this Opuntia cutting to you, and how is it doing? Has it rooted on you? Because for me, this mother plant has been the most giving on the plant shelf out of all of the plant babies. I like having the Opuntia on the shelf. It gives some kind of interest to the plant shelf, but maybe in time I might move that Opuntia with the plant gang on the right on the ground with the rest of my larger plant babies, and bring my variegated Joseph's coat in that spot, which you will see where he is in a second. But other than that, all of the plant babies kind of remain the same. I did bring my variegated Indian corn cob on the plant shelf. It was originally on the ladder on the right hand side, but I like to have different colors and textures on this shelf, and I really like the updated look of the plant gang that I have currently styled on this DIY plant shelf. But stay tuned, I really am looking forward to adding a third shelf. So here's the plant shelf looking so cute. I absolutely love the updated look. Switching out a few babies, adding some new babies into this part of the collection is very fun for me to share. I definitely love having my new Adenium incorporated on this shelf with my prickly babies, as well as my Epiphyllum. It definitely gives some kind of different interests and textures to the DIY plant shelf. In the comments, what do you think about the little changes that I did to the plant shelf? I really like that I was able to pick up a lot of plant babies from the ground, and it's going to be much more manageable, and it just kind of looks a lot more cleaner to me as well. So here's a very fun point of view as far as for any new plants that I've incorporated in this section since my spring 2020 plant tour. I have one here, and this was originally living in my patio, but I decided to bring it out. That particular plant baby can handle a lot more heat than other plant babies, so it just kind of makes sense for it to come outside. And I love being able to have different textures and trailing plant babies in the front of the home to make things interesting. Now, this is the plant gang here, but ideally I would like to get more plant babies off of the ground, so I may incorporate a new DIY shelf or two out here. I'm thinking in the future I might want to bring more plant babies off of the ground, so sound off in the comments down below if you think it would be crazy. My goal is with the third shelf that I would incorporate in the front of the home, that'll help me to get these plant babies off of the ground, and it'll be a much cleaner look. But I definitely love the plant gang, and it's so cute. What do you guys think of the little changes that I did? Now, as you see, my donkey's tail, my burro's tail, is my headache plant in this section. I don't know what to do with it, so it just kind of lives there propped on a nursery planter. Other than that, all of my plant babies in this section is doing great for me, and I love being able to have my silver dollar vine on that plant stand. It's just perfect for this part of the collection. On the right side of my little walkway to the patio, as you see here, there's some interesting things happening. I decided to move my hybrid Epiphyllum and my flapjack, my larger pieces, out here a little bit more front versus hidden in the back behind my silver dollar vine. I like being able to showcase them where they're visible from when I'm walking into my space instead of tucked and hidden behind the ladder shelf. So I like the switch up, and also I'm able to incorporate one of my newest aeoniums. One of my beautiful aeoniums, very quirky, interesting. That one I got from Long Beach. And other than that, all of these babies has been with me for a while now. I do want to say my amazing watch chain is doing really good, and the silver spoons that Sonia gifted me for my birthday has been loving the Santa Monica weather. So I'm happy to report that. All the plant babies in this section has been doing really great for me and hasn't been giving me any problems. So that's always nice to report. We have Miss Ebby. On the left side of the pathway to my patio, I did incorporate several new plants to come to this side of the pathway, and I like that a lot. So my succulent farm is pushed behind, but I don't think that's a problem. My strawberry plant on the bottom, and then I incorporated the succulent garden my grandma made a couple months ago along with my large kalanchoe and my original jade. So I'm glad I was able to at least put a little green in this part of the walkway. As far as for having plants along the pathway, I think this is as far as I'm going to get. I think 3 plants is good enough for me. I did the switch up because originally I just had my succulent farm there and it did look a little sparse, but now I think it evens out things, having at least 3 larger pieces here on the left. We are on the right side of the pathway to the patio. Quick changes I did: I moved my Ripsalis from the left to the right of the plant shelf, and I decided to move my Kalanchoe to the left side of the walkway because it was just getting too much trash from the tree. So I decided to put one of my larger jade pieces there, and I think it's going to be a lot more manageable for me to clean up after the tree. I decided to switch my Kalanchoe that was living there on the left side of the plant shelf away from this corner pocket because it was getting too much trash from the tree, and I switched it out with one of my jades. It was getting a lot of sun where my jade originally lived. I think I made the best decision for both my jade plant and for my fuzzy Kalanchoe. This jade plant was getting a lot of sun, as you can see. There's lots of sun stress from it, so hopefully it'll like living in that corner pocket. But other than that, no new changes to this section, and everybody is doing well. Here we are on the left side of the walkway. There is some new changes to this part of the space. So my third rickrack Epiphyllum zigzag cacti baby, he is on the bottom shelf of my vintage plant stand. He was originally living on my DIY plant shelf that we just went through, but I just felt like he didn't aesthetically look good there, so I moved him here. I think he looks much better. I moved my variegated Joseph's coat down here as well, just because he's the only cacti baby in a white planter. He's very hard to work with because all of his legs will fall off, so I'm gonna have to move him in a terracotta sooner than later to match the aesthetic of the cacti babies in the front of the home. But for now, he's in his white planter and living in this plant gang. I did incorporate one of my newest Aeoniums to this section, and I love having different textures, and I think it works well with those darker Aeoniums that Sonia gifted me next to it on the right. My Wilfin still remains one of my showcase plant babies here, but I did switch out my hanging plant here. Originally it was my Philodendron Brazil, but I felt like it kind of stood out in this section, being the only house plant besides my Peperomia Red Edge on my Tiffany Blue plant stand. And now my newest Hoya, my newest plant baby, is living in that macrame hanger, and I think it works best with this part of the collection, having a Hoya there versus a Philodendron. And of course, Bob Marley is back out here. At one point during the spring summer months, he was living in my patio, but I decided that he was better off back to the front of the house, and he's definitely a show-stopping plant baby where I love being able to see him front and center as soon as I walk into the collection. So that's gonna wrap up my front of my home summer 2020 plant tour. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the updated collection in the front of the home, the new plant babies that I was able to incorporate in the space since spring, and the few changes that I made pushing the plants away from this section so that it's easier for me to clean up after the tree and at least not have so many trash to pick up on the plant babies, because that's definitely a daily chore for me when I'm home, is cleaning up and trying to keep this place as tidy as possible. Try to look at things on the positive side. I'm just blessed to have all of this outdoor space to be able to have all of these plants out here. One of my favorite things to do on my quarterly series, my plant tours, is being able to give some kind of giveaway to show my appreciation and just a thank you for supporting the channel. Let's talk about the giveaway and the giveaway rules. I love doing giveaways on my quarterly plant tours. It's just a way for me to say thank you for supporting my channel. My giveaway rules will always remain the same. You have to be subscribed to both of my YouTube channels, my main channel and my vlog channel, as well as following me on my Instagram account, my main account, and my plant account, as well as leaving your city, state, or country that you live in the comments, along with what was your favorite cactus or succulent that you purchased this year that you added into your collection. And if you didn't purchase any, let me know what is your current wish list cactus or succulent that you would like to add to your collection. I will pick a winner 1 week from the time this video goes live, and I will announce it on my plant Instagram. Also, be sure to have your YouTube profile public. I know a lot of you guys have entered in the past, but with your profiles being private, I'm not able to choose you as a winner. So make sure your YouTube profile is public. Let's talk about the giveaway. No matter where you live, whether it's here in the States or somewhere else in the world, anybody can enter the giveaway. As long as you have a mailing address, I'm more than happy to send you the giveaway. So the giveaway for this summer 2020 plant tour is my Planting with Jewelyn merchandise. These are pot holders with Monstera print with my logo on it. These are handmade for our Planting with Jewelyn 2020 merchandise from my grandma, and I will be sending this to you no matter where you live in the world. Also, if you live in the US mainland, I would love to also send you a cutting from my big jade tree in the yard. That has been definitely something fun for me to be able to do, is spread the plant love and seeing my jade tree travel around the US mainland. If you guys watched the channel from a long time ago, one of my jade trees that was in the front of the main house got taken away, and that was really upsetting. And sound off in the comments down below if you remember that. I actually cried because that thing was so old, and that jade tree was very near and dear to my heart. And since then, I promised myself that I will try my best to have my last standing jade tree to spread its plant wings. And it's so nice to be able to have something from my personal collection and space into your home. That's gonna wrap up my summer 2020 plant tour. I'm really excited to be able to give something so personal. These are handmade from my grandma. Stay tuned for the rest of the plant tours. I will be giving 3 more giveaways throughout the summer 2020 plant tour, and I look forward to being able to give something back as a thank you for supporting the channels. I hope you guys enjoy my summer 2020 plant tour. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads between the main channel Monday to Thursday and the vlog channel Friday to Sunday. You get a video each and every day. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye.